everyone, and welcome to a new episode, a new live lesson on your channel Pure English. As usual, our titles dictate the topic that we talk about in our lessons, and as today's title dictates, we will be talking about what's called in English joiners or linkers. So, when we talk about joiners or linkers in English, we can say that these are words or phrases which are used to connect your ideas, whether you are speaking or whether you're writing. So when you write about something in particular, you have a lot of ideas, and these ideas have to be connected together. This kind of cement that connects your ideas together is what we call in English joiners or connectors or linkers. So your writing or your speech is similar to a building. If you want to build a fence, for instance, you have a piece of land and you want to surround or enclose that piece of land inside an enclosure, inside a fence. So you build that fence for protection using bricks and cement. Your ideas are the bricks, and your linkers or your joiners are the cement that connects and joins these bricks together and consolidates them to make them a solid single unit. Right, so talking about joiners or linkers in English, we have two main types of those. We have the first type, which is conjunctions, and the second type, which is sentence connectors. And we will be explaining the difference shortly. So, in English, your joiners or your linkers are categorized into two sorts, into two kinds. Conjunctions, that's the first kind, and sentence connectors, that's the second kind. And before I explain the difference between the two, there is a point that's worth explaining, and that's the meaning of a clause in English. What is the meaning of the word clause? And that's spelled C-L-A-U-S-E. C-L-A-U-S-E. We pronounce this word as clause. Well, a clause in English is a group of words which contains a subject and a verb. So, if you have a group of words in English, whether that group of words is in writing or is in speaking, and this group of words contains a subject and a verb, this means that this group of words is a clause. Sometimes this clause has a complete meaning, and sometimes it doesn't have a complete meaning. So, for example, when I say, it rained heavily yesterday, it rained heavily yesterday. This is a group of words, and it contains a subject and a verb. The subject is the pronoun it, and the verb is the verb rained. So because this group of words contains a subject and a verb, it's a clause. And because it conveys a complete meaning or a complete thought, it's also a sentence, right? So, in this case, when I say, it rained heavily yesterday, this is a simple sentence. Why is it a simple sentence? It's a sentence because it expresses a complete idea or a complete thought. That's why it's a sentence, because a sentence must have a complete idea. And it's simple because it consists of only one clause, one subject, one verb. It rained heavily yesterday. So in this case, the clause had a complete meaning, And that's why we call it an independent clause. You know, if something is independent, this means it can stand on its own. It doesn't need any help. It doesn't need any assistance. So, because this clause has a complete meaning, it doesn't need another clause to help it or to complement it or to complete its meaning. We call it an independent clause. But some clauses are dependent, which means that they cannot stand on their own and they need another clause to complete their meaning. For example, when I say, while she was watering the plants, while she was watering the plants. So this is a group of words. It contains a subject, which is she. It contains a verb, which is was watering. So when your group of words contains a subject and a verb, this makes it a clause. But our clause in this case doesn't have a complete meaning. The clause says, while she was watering the plants. So what happened while she was watering the plants? You didn't tell me what happened while she was watering the plants. You just tell me while she was watering the plants, and you got silent after that. You didn't provide me with extra information. So this is a dependent clause. Why is it a dependent clause? It's a clause because it contains a subject and a verb. We agreed on that. But it's dependent in that case because it doesn't convey a whole meaning. It needs another clause in order to complete the meaning. So it needs another clause with a new idea so that the idea of this clause combines with the idea of the other clause and they make up a sentence with a whole full meaning. Right. So now we understand the difference between the two types of clauses. Dependent clauses, they do not convey a complete idea and they need another clause to complete their meaning. And on the other hand, we have independent clauses, which means that they can stand on their own and they have a complete meaning and they don't need another clause to complete their meanings. Let me take a sip of tea. Fantastic. All right. So back to our topic. So our topic today is how to connect your ideas when you're writing in English or when you're speaking English. So the question is, what is the difference between conjunctions and sentence connectors? So as I said at the beginning of the video, we have two terms which refer to the same idea: joiners or linkers. So when you talk about joiners or linkers, we are talking about words or phrases which are used to connect ideas together. If you're writing English, if you're speaking English, these words and phrases connect your ideas together so your speech or your writing comes across as a single solid unit. It's contact, it's compact, it's coherent, right? So what's the difference between a conjunction on one hand and a sentence connector on the other hand? A conjunction joins ideas within the same sentence. So this means that a conjunction exists inside the same sentence. So we're talking about one sentence which contains two clauses. These two clauses are joined using the conjunction inside the same sentence. So after all, it's only one sentence. Whereas, on the other hand, a sentence connector joins a whole sentence with another sentence. So in this case, we have two sentences rather than one. Even the name suggests so. The name, it's called sentence connector, which means it connects sentences. It exists between sentences. It joins one sentence with another. Whereas conjunctions, they occur inside one sentence, inside the same sentence. And what they do is that they connect or join two clauses within the same sentence. I will give you 3 examples per each. So I will begin by giving you 3 examples of conjunctions. Example number 1. I stayed at home because it was raining. I stayed at home because it was raining. So the conjunction here is because. And because is a conjunction that shows the reason or the cause. Why did you stay at home? Because it was raining. So because provides you or gives you the reason for doing something. As you can see, the whole group of words is one sentence. I stayed at home because it was raining, full stop. So I have only one full stop, or in American English, they call it period. I have only one period, which means that I have only one sentence. But because as a conjunction inside that sentence, it joins 2 clauses together. I stayed at home, that's a clause. It was raining, that's another clause. I stayed at home, I is the subject, stayed is the verb. So, I stayed at home is a group of words which contains a subject and a verb, so it's a clause. It was raining, it is the subject, was raining is the verb, so that's a group of words that contains a subject and a verb, so that's another clause. We connect the 2 clauses with the word because. Inside the same sentence, we only have one sentence. So this means that the word because is a conjunction because it joins 2 clauses within the same sentence. So example 1 for conjunctions is I stayed at home because it was raining. Example number 2. Although he was tired, he finished his homework. Although he was tired, he finished his homework. The conjunction in this sentence is the word although. Although is a word or a conjunction that shows contrast. What is the meaning of contrast? Contrast means opposite meanings, opposite ideas. He was tired. He finished his homework. Normally, if he is tired, maybe he won't be able to finish his homework. But the fact of the matter is, although he was tired, that's one idea, he finished his homework, that's another idea. So as you can see, we are joining 2 clauses within the same sentence using the conjunction although. The first clause is he was tired. He, subject, was verb. He was tired is a clause. He finished his homework. He, subject, finished verb. So that's a second clause. And we join them within the same sentence using although, which is the conjunction that shows contrast. We have a comma after the word tired. So we say, although he was tired, comma, he finished his homework. Example 3. She will call you when she arrives. She will call you when she arrives. So here the conjunction used is the word when. When is a time conjunction, which means that it shows you the time at which the action happens. As you can see, we also have one sentence but 2 clauses. The first clause is she will call you. She will call you. The subject, she. The verb, will call. Then that's a clause. The second clause, she arrives. She is subject, arrives is verb. So that's another clause. So we join the two clauses using when by saying she will call you when she arrives. So when, as a conjunction of time, is joining two clauses within the same sentence. And that's the function of a conjunction, which is to connect ideas within the same sentence. So now I give you 3 examples to demonstrate conjunctions, which are words or phrases used to connect clauses or to connect ideas inside the same sentence. Let me repeat the 3 examples again promptly. Number 1, I stayed at home because it was raining. The conjunction is because, it shows reason. Number 2, although he was tired, he finished his homework. The conjunction is although, and it shows contrast. She will call you when she arrives. The conjunction is when, and it shows time. Awesome. Now, let's discuss 3 other examples, but these 3 examples will discuss sentence connectors rather than conjunctions. So the previous 3 examples highlighted conjunctions which joined ideas within the same sentence. But in the following 3 examples, or 3 example sentences, we will have sentence connectors instead, which means that each example will contain 2 sentences. And these 2 sentences are joined with a sentence connector. Number 1, I wanted to go for a run. However, it started to rain. I wanted to go for a run. However, it started to rain. So the sentence connector here is however, which is a sentence connector that shows contrast. I wanted to go for a run, that's one idea, but there is something that prevented me from going for that run, and that's rain. So it started to rain, I wanted to go for a run, the 2 ideas are opposing, so however is a sentence connector that shows contrast. In this example, we have 2 sentences, 2 full stops. I wanted to go for a run, full stop. However, it started to rain, full stop. So we have 2 sentences in this example, and these 2 sentences are joined with the sentence connector, however, which was used at the beginning of the second sentence. Example 2. She studied all night. Therefore, she passed the exam. Again, she studied all night. Therefore, she passed the exam. In this example also, we have 2 sentences, 2 full stops. She studied all night, full stop. Therefore, she passed the exam, full stop. So the 2 sentences are joined with the sentence connector therefore. And therefore is a sentence connector which is used to show a result or to show a consequence, an outcome of a certain action. So what is the result of her studying all night? She passed the exam. She succeeded in her test. So the reason, she studied all night. The result, she passed the exam. So as you can see, in this example, we have 2 sentences with 2 full stops. She studied all night, full stop. Therefore, she passed the exam, full stop. So 2 sentences joined with the sentence connector therefore, which is used to show the result or the consequence of an action. Example number 3. He loves football. In addition, he's a great swimmer. Again, he loves football. In addition, he's a great swimmer. So this example also contains two sentences with two full stops. He loves football, full stop. In addition, he's a great swimmer, full stop. So the sentence connector here is in addition. In addition is one of those sentence connectors used to add extra information, to add further information. So, sentence number one is he loves football, full stop. Sentence number two, in addition, he's a great swimmer, full stop. So I'm adding a second idea, which is that he's a great swimmer, to the first idea, which is his love for football. I'll repeat the three examples of sentence connectors one more time. I wanted to go for a run. However, it started to rain. The sentence connector is however. It shows contrast. Number two, she studied all night. Therefore, she passed the exam. The sentence connector is therefore, and it shows the result or the consequence of an action, the outcome of it. Number three, he loves football. In addition, he's a great swimmer. In addition is the sentence connector used in this example, and this is one of those sentence connectors used for adding extra information or further information to the previous information mentioned before it. Right, so now we have managed to understand the difference between conjunctions and sentence connectors. Joiners or linkers, that's a big title. That's a broad umbrella. Under joiners or linkers, we have two types. Conjunctions, sentence connectors. Conjunctions join ideas or clauses within the same sentence, whereas sentence connectors, on the other hand, join sentences together, which means that sentence connectors exist between separate sentences, whereas conjunctions happen or occur or exist inside the same sentence, joining ideas or clauses together. Now I'll give you 20 examples of sentence connectors and conjunctions which can help you a lot in connecting your ideas when you're speaking or when you're writing. Number one is even so. Even so is a sentence connector which means in spite of that. So even so, as a sentence connector, it's synonymous in its meaning to in spite of that. And it's a sentence connector. Let's have an example. He apologized for being late. Even so, the manager was still angry. You see? So in spite of his apology, in spite of the fact that he apologized for his tardiness, the manager was still angry. So you can replace even so with in spite of that. You can say, he apologized for being late, full stop. In spite of that, the manager was still angry. So even so is a synonym for in spite of that. Let's have an example of in spite of that. The weather was terrible. The weather was terrible. Full stop. In spite of that, they went hiking. In spite of that, they went hiking. Maybe you notice that these two sentence connectors, even so, and its synonym, in spite of that, show contrast. We talked about contrast earlier today in the live lesson. Contrast means that we have two opposing ideas in our sentence. He apologized, but the manager was angry. The weather was terrible, but we insisted on going hiking. So as you can see, the two sentence connectors, whether even so or in spite of that, both of them are used to show the idea of contrast, which means that one sentence has an idea and the second sentence has an opposing idea. Sentence connector number 3 is called all the same. All the same. Let me give you an example highlighting this one. She didn't invite me to the party. She didn't invite me to the party. All the same, I hope she had a good time. All the same, I hope she had a good time. I think that you can guess that all the same is a third synonym for in spite of that and for even so, which means that also we have contrasting ideas in our sentences here. She didn't invite me to the party. This should make me angry. This should piss me off. This should annoy me. However, I don't feel angry. I'm not annoyed. I'm not upset. And I still hope that she had a good time. So we can say that the 3 synonyms or the 3 sentence connectors that we have mentioned so far can be used interchangeably. Let me repeat them again. Even so, in spite of that, all the same. 3 sentence connectors with the same meaning. Sentence connector number 4 is in whatever way. So when I say that something is a certain thing in whatever way, it means that in any way it shows up, in any way it behaves, it shows up or it comes across with that way or with that manner. Let me give you an example. In whatever way you look at it, lying is still wrong. I'm talking here about lying, which is being dishonest, which is not telling the truth, yeah? In whatever way you look at it, which means however you look at it, from different perspectives, from different angles, it doesn't matter. In whatever way you look at it, lying is still wrong. Being dishonest is still wrong. So we can say that the sentence connector or the conjunction here, in whatever way, is synonymous to however. You know, however, people think of however as the meaning of although or in spite of that, and that's correct. However is used with the meaning of in spite of that. But however can also be used with the meaning of in whatever way, which means it doesn't matter what way you look at it. So in whatever way equals however. So I can say in whatever way you look at it, lying is still wrong, or however you look at it, lying is still wrong. And as you can see, the 2 clauses occur within the same sentence. So if you look at the sentence in a written way, it's in whatever way you look at it, comma, lying is still wrong. So there is only one full stop, which means that there is only one sentence. In whatever way you look at it, comma, lying is still wrong, full stop. 2 clauses, but 1 sentence, which means that however, which is a synonym to in whatever way, both of them are conjunctions because they join 2 clauses within the same sentence. So this is joiner or linker number 4. Number 5 is by contrast. And as the nomenclature or as the name of the conjunction says, or as of the sentence connector, it shows contrast. For example, Jean is very outgoing. By contrast, his brother is quiet and reserved. Again, Jean is very outgoing. He's very sociable. He's rather gregarious, yeah? Full stop. By contrast, his brother is quiet and reserved. Full stop. As you can see, we have 2 sentences here because we have 2 full stops. One after the first sentence, John is very outgoing. Full stop. By contrast, his brother is quiet and reserved. Full stop. So this means that the phrase by contrast is a sentence connector because it joins one sentence to another sentence rather than a conjunction which joins clauses within the same sentence. By the way, you can replace by contrast with in contrast, but there is a little subtle distinction here. In contrast is a conjunction. By contrast is a sentence connector. Let's have an example. In contrast to her calm appearance, in contrast to her calm appearance, her words are very sharp. Her words are very sharp. This is one sentence with one full stop. In contrast to her calm appearance, comma, her words are sharp. Full stop. So as you can see, we have two clauses, that's right. But we have only one full stop, which means that we have one sentence. So in contrast to is a conjunction that joins clauses within the same sentence, as opposed to its brother or to its cousin. By contrast, which is also used to show contrast or opposing ideas, but by contrast is a sentence connector which connects two sentences, two separate sentences, rather than joining two clauses within the same sentence. Phrases 7 and 8 are also synonyms, and these are in any case and in any event. In any case and in any event. Those two are two synonymous phrases, and they are used as sentence connectors. Let me give you an example to highlight them. I might be late, full stop. In any case, don't wait for me. Again, I might be late, full stop. In any case, don't wait for me. Another full stop. So we have two sentences, two separate sentences joined by the sentence connector in any case. What do you think it means? What is the meaning of in any case in everyday words, in everyday English? I might be late. In any case, don't wait for me. It's similar to anyway. So in any case and in any event, the two sentence connectors are similar to the famous word anyway. So I can say, I might be late. Anyway, don't wait for me. Let me give you an example to highlight in any event. We may not win, full stop. In any event, we will gain experience, full stop. Again, another sentence connector joining two separate sentences. We may not win, full stop. In any event, anyway, we will gain experience, another full stop. So we can say that in any way or in any event, in any case or in any event are both synonyms for any way. Now, let's move on to more sentence connectors and conjunctions, numbers 9 and 10. I promised you with 20 of those, and we are doing that right now. We have already explained 8, and now we will do numbers 9 and 10. Please like the video if you are happy with it, and share it, and drop down comments. I will be happy to respond to your comments. Number 9 and number 10 are also synonyms, which means that they have the same meaning. One of them is a sentence connector, and the other is a conjunction. These are on the contrary, to the contrary. So on the contrary is the sentence connector, whereas to the contrary is the conjunction. So let's have two examples to highlight them. I am not angry, full stop. On the contrary, I'm proud of you. Another full stop. So these are two separate sentences. We have two full stops here. I am not angry, full stop. On the contrary, I am proud of you. Another full stop. So on the contrary is a sentence connector, joins two separate sentences, and as you can see, it conveys the notion of contrast. I am not angry. No, I am proud of you. So rather than being angry, I take pride in you, or I have pride for you, right? So on the contrary, as a sentence connector, it shows the idea of contrast. Let's give an example about to the contrary, which is the conjunction equivalent of it. There is no evidence to the contrary, so we must accept the official story. It's one sentence here. There is no evidence to the contrary. There is no evidence to support the opposite idea or the opposite meaning, comma, so we must accept the official story. As you can see, it's only one full stop, which means one sentence. Phrase number 11 or word number 11 is another sentence connector, and it also shows the idea of contrast, and that's conversely. Conversely. Example. A high-fat diet may increase energy. A high-fat diet may increase energy. Conversely, it raises cholesterol levels. So you see the opposing ideas. It's a good thing that your diet increases your energy, vitalizes you, and makes you active. But on the other hand, it has a limitation. It has a negative side, which is, which is raising your cholesterol levels. So conversely is a sentence connector that conveys the idea of contrast. A high-fat diet may increase your energy, full stop. Conversely, it raises your cholesterol levels, full stop again. So we have two sentences here with two full stops, and they are joined together with the sentence connector conversely. Now we move on to numbers 12, 13, and 14, which will be also synonyms. I'm very careful here in providing you with a couple of words or phrases for each meaning so that you can utilize each one of them in its proper place. If it's a conjunction, you use it to connect clauses within the same sentence. If it's a sentence connector, you use it to connect two separate sentences. We have here number 12, in consequence, which is a sentence connector. Number 13, as a consequence, which is also a sentence connector. Consequently, which is a sentence connector too. So these three are synonyms to each other. In consequence, as a consequence, consequently. Let me give you three examples to highlight each of them. He ignored the warning. He ignored the warning. Full stop. In consequence, he failed the test. So as you can see, in consequence is used to show the effect or the outcome or the result of a certain action. So the action was he ignored the warning. What was the outcome of that? He failed the exam or the test. So we say the sentence again, he ignored the warning, full stop. In consequence, which means as a result, he failed the test. An example for the other one. She didn't follow the rules. She didn't follow the rules. Full stop. As a consequence, she was disqualified. As a consequence, she was disqualified. So what is the result of her not adhering to the rules or not complying with the rules? Is her disqualification. Disqualification was the outcome or the result that ensued after her refusal to follow the rules. So she didn't follow the rules, full stop. As a consequence, she was disqualified, another full stop. So as a consequence is a sentence connector. The company lost major clients. The company lost major clients. Consequently, it closed down. So what is the result of the fact that the company lost major clients, that it closed down, it went out of business, right? So we have also two sentences here. The company lost major clients, full stop. Consequently, it closed down or it went out of business. So consequently also is a sentence connector that joins the two sentences together, and along with in consequence and as a consequence, the three of them are used to show the effect or the outcome or the result or the influence of a certain action. Number 15 is for one thing. For one thing. For one thing means the reason for that. The reason for that. Let me give you an example. I can't go out tonight. Full stop. For one thing, I have to finish my report, which means the reason for that, the reason for my inability to go out tonight is the fact that I have to finish my report. So, for one thing is a sentence connector that's used to connect separate sentences, and it shows the reason for something. I can't go out tonight. Why? For one thing, I have to finish my report. Numbers 16 and 17 are also synonyms, which are likewise and similarly. Likewise and similarly. These two sentence connectors are used as synonyms. They can be used interchangeably. Let me give you a couple of examples to demonstrate them. He helped me when I was in trouble. He helped me when I was in trouble. Full stop. Likewise, I will support him now. Full stop. So we have two sentences here. He helped me when I was in trouble. Full stop. Likewise, I will support him now. Full stop. So, in a similar fashion, in a similar manner, he helped me in the past. I'll back him up now. I got his back now. I'll help him now. Similarly to what he did to me or for me in the past. The other example for similarly. The first painting is very colorful. The first painting is very colorful. Similarly, the second one uses vibrant tones. Similarly, the second one uses vibrant tones or vibrant hues, vibrant colors. Right, so similarly is the same meaning as likewise. So the first painting is very colorful, and similarly, the second one uses flamboyant or vibrant hues or colors. Then we come to the last three conjunctions and sentence connectors in today's live lesson, and they are also synonyms. They have the same meaning. Those are assuming, supposing, and on condition that. Assuming, supposing, and on condition that. The three of them are used for the purpose of providing a certain condition for an action to happen, or assuming or presuming that something is the true case. For example, I say, assuming he agrees, we can start the project tomorrow. Assuming is a conjunction. It joins two clauses within the same sentence. Example again, the same example again. Assuming he agrees, comma, we can start the project tomorrow. Full stop. So we have only one full stop here, which means that we have only one sentence. This makes assuming a conjunction rather than a sentence connector. Assuming he agrees, which means if he agrees, comma, we can start the project tomorrow. Full stop. One sentence, one full stop. So assuming is a conjunction. Supposing is also another conjunction with the meaning of if also. Example. Supposing it rains, what's our backup plan? Again, supposing it rains, comma, what's our backup plan? Full stop. A question mark. So we have one question mark here, which means that we have one sentence which is in the form of a question or an interrogative sentence, an interrogation. Again, supposing it rains, comma, what's our backup plan? Question mark. And by the way, in English, sentences end in either a full stop. In American English, we said that they call it a period, a question mark, or an exclamation mark, which Americans call an exclamation point. Your sentence cannot end with any other punctuation mark. Any sentence in English ends in one of three punctuation marks, either a full stop, or in American English they call it a period. That's if it's a declarative sentence, an affirmative, positive, or a negative one. It can end with a question mark if it's an interrogative sentence or a question. And it can end with an exclamation mark, which is in American English called an exclamation point, and that's if your sentence conveys a strong feeling. Your sentence cannot end with any other punctuation mark whatsoever. So in writing, wherever there is a full stop or a period, wherever there is a question mark, wherever there is an exclamation mark or an exclamation point, the word after them, the letter immediately after them, must be capital. It must be capitalized. And the last, or the 20th conjunction that we have today is on condition that. On condition that, which is a synonym to assuming and supposing, and the three of them have the same meaning, which is if. Let me give you an example on this one, on condition that. You can borrow my car on condition that you drive it carefully. Again, you can borrow my car on condition that you drive it carefully. So on condition that is used in this sentence as a conjunction. It joins two clauses within the same sentence. You can borrow my car, clause 1. You drive it carefully, clause 2. We're still inside the same sentence. We're still within the same sentence. And the two clauses are joined with the conjunction on condition that, which is synonymous to the word if. So the sentence can be using if instead of on condition that by saying, you can borrow my car if you drive it carefully, or you can borrow my car on condition that you drive it carefully. And here we come to the end of today's live lesson, which was mainly about telling the difference between clauses and sentences, explaining the difference between conjunctions and sentence connectors, which are both collectively called in English joiners or linkers. We gave you some examples on conjunctions and how they are used to connect clauses or ideas within the same sentence. And we also provided examples on sentence connectors, which are words and phrases used to connect separate sentences together. And we discussed 20 conjunctions and sentence connectors that can spice up your writing and boost your speaking. So whenever you speak with a native speaker and whenever you write in English, your writing and your speech appear rich, appear advanced, and conveys a good impression or makes a good impression on the other person, on the other receiving end of your speech or of your writing. I hope today's live lesson was useful to you. And as usual, I reiterate my calling on you, and I would like you always to interact with the content, either by liking it, by sharing it to your friends and family members, by leaving down comments in the comment box. I make sure that I read all the comments whenever I can, and subscription to the channel also in order to grow the community and for these lessons to reach each and everyone who is keen on learning the English language and improving their level on it. I don't want to bore you with more information. We have covered a lot already today in today's live lesson. Stay tuned for our upcoming videos being recorded or being live lessons like this. Thank you very much for your attentive listening. Enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye for now.